Some disturbing news, some sad news. I've been a longtime fan of Chicago. I think I had the first 20 albums, bought them all. But yesterday, Walter Parazaider, who's in the horn section of Chicago, has been there since the very beginning. He posted a note. He said, "So many of you have been very kind over the years with birthday and well wishes. I want to share some news with you before the rumors start on the internet. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughter, and myself were shocked and devastated by the news." I'm just paraphrasing. Danica, can you put that down a little bit? It's too loud. My autistic daughter is playing this very loud. He goes on to say, "The good news is we have a wonderful medical facility here, and I have a very good doctor. I'm working hard and not going to give up. With new treatments and therapy along the way, my family loves support. I feel very positive about the future." I mean, one of the things that people loved Chicago for was that freaking horn section, right? With Lee Lofnum and Jimmy Pankow. The three of them together was just an amazing thing. So I wanted to get on and just send out our well wishes to Walt. And it's again, shocking, when you get this kind of news. And again, the people who watch our channel, I know that a lot of you are getting news like this too. Jay Wright, I know, my reaction was wow as well when I heard it. I went, but you know what? A lot of us, thank you, Orders to Go. The horns were amazing. And he's been out of the band for a little while now, but maintained a membership as a member of the band, but didn't tour with them. So I'm not sure, and I'm not going to speculate. Maybe he just wanted to retire before, because we don't like to do rumors on this site. But still, just gut-wrenching, considering he was such a big part of bringing that sound, the original Chicago sound, to the forefront of the music industry. We're all getting old. I was shocked when I had a heart attack. This is Guy. Then you were shocked when you had a stroke. Here's the thing. Believing Rebel, he is in my prayers. Jeremy Chambers, sorry, though, I missed your thing. It went up and down too fast. Godspeed to him. Phil Brown. The thing is, we all have friends in our lives that are going through this thing. I've had a few Facebook friends go through it in the last few years. Some of them brought on by bad lifestyles, but most of them not. So when you hear that, it has nothing to do with the fact that he's no longer in the band. He was there for the classic years to help create that classic sound. Guy Moret, great musician, sorry to hear. Just wanted to pass along. I'm going to read what he said. So many of you have heard and have been very kind over the years with birthday and well wishes. I want to share some news with you before the rumors start on the internet. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughter, and myself were shocked and devastated. It has taken a while to process this news, and the fact is, we still are. Yeah, very sad. I don't know much about the band Chicago. Well, thank you, Queen, for piping in and coming in on us tonight. I was just voicing a lot of things today for the next couple of months for our channel, and I'm a little hoarse right now. My late maternal grandfather suffered from diabetes. He got Alzheimer's when he turned 87. Yeah. And you never know, right? I mean, obviously, some people last longer than others when it comes to this, as far as them having their markers with them, keeping their markers, rather. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. But still, you hear this kind of stuff, and whenever news like this strikes, I always like to go on live and I like to talk about it, because everyone who watches our channel in that demographic have been touched by this sort of thing, whether it's diabetes or Alzheimer's or some form of dementia, right? And any of those things. I'm 61 now and I'm watching the clock. Every musician I talk to, every musician, they all talk about that. The fact that they have to watch their health now. They have to be very, very careful. No, guys. We have blankets all over. We have new rug in this room, and both dogs were vomiting today. So they're playing with them. God bless you, Walt, always. John Michael Fink, yeah. To Jimmy, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Greg, so sorry to hear this. Love Walt and Chicago. Again, when you get someone who gave us so much, I mean, Chicago would not have been Chicago without that horn section, right? With Lee Lofnum and Jimmy Pankow. A lot of people are coming on right now, a lot. Sorry, this is coming on too fast. I'll read the statement again. I don't want to get repetitive for the people who've been on here the whole time, but I know from the numbers there are a lot of people just joining on. His statement read, I'll paraphrase it. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughter, and myself were shocked, daughters, and devastated. Yet it's taken a while to process the news, and in fact, we still are. He says he's got good doctors, and there's always new treatment. And there's a lot of research going into Alzheimer's disease. And hopefully, you're always hoping you're the one that gets the treatment, the newer treatment that actually works or severely slows down, the degenerative brain. I mean, it's a terrible thing to go through. And whenever we have a hero, I mean, we always get people on here, and I understand your point of view, who say things like, sorry, it's distracting, I gotta turn off the TV. Who go on here and say, well, there are normal people who die all the time. Yeah, that's true. But sometimes it hits us a little harder when it's someone who's given us an awful lot in a form that makes us feel better, right? In Chicago, like I said, I think I bought their first 20 albums, religiously, no matter what. When it's Chicago 13, a lot of people didn't like that album. I bought it. I went out and bought it. Hot Streets, after Terry Kath passed away, accidentally killed himself. I still liked it. I was so happy the band was back. I'm glad they didn't, they didn't quit. I'm still happy they're around. We just had, Paul Coffey. He's a hockey player. I got to read some comments home. Frank, thanks, Guy. You just interviewed Bill Champlin. So did we. Yeah. Neil Donnell was just on our channel. We just talked to Neil Donnell. He talked about the love he had for all he's the latest tenor of Chicago. And Jeff Coffey was on, and Bill Champlin was on. I think that's it. Let me think. On our channel. Glenn Campbell lived for 10 years with Alzheimer's. Yeah, but at the end it wasn't pretty. But I mean, really at the end, nearly at the end, he was still touring, but some nights he couldn't do it. And that's the thing. It's, again, let me reiterate this. A lot of people get Alzheimer's disease. That's true. I understand that. But it's a little harder sometimes, or harder in a different way when our heroes get it. Obviously, we're going to take it harder if it's a relative or a friend or no matter what. But it's a different type of, suffering, I think, when we hear about this. And I just, I did this video just to say, we wish you well. Man, again, that horn section, huh? Jeez, Lee Lofnum, Jimmy Pankow, and Walter Parazaider, like, just amazing. Like, consistently fantastic, right? And they ran into their, getting your yeah-yeahs out stage. I mean, we talked to Bill Champlin about that, and Jeff Coffey's certainly not that type of guy. He's not into that stuff. He replaced Jason Scheff. 69 to 77, yeah, good choices. Good era for the band. It was hard when Terry Kath left. I remember being completely shocked because the original rumor was that he was playing Russian roulette, and he was high. They were saying back then he was high on something and he killed himself. And then it started changing it was just an accident. Not that it changed anything for me, but I remember thinking, oh, he's still gone. It's like the Jeff Porcaro thing. Well, what was it? Because he was taking too much drugs? Or was it the fertilizer? And on some levels, I kind of went, I guess it didn't change anything for me. I just kept going, yeah, but he's still gone. Most people looked at it as if solving a crime of catching someone who killed that person. They looked at her and said, I want to know. And I understand that. I understand that. So there you go. So I'm going to read this statement again. This is Walter who wrote this. So many of you have been very kind over the years with birthday and well wishes. I want to share some news with you before you saw rumors on the internet. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughters, and myself were shocked and devastated. It has taken a while for us to process this news, and in fact, we still are. So there you go. No, they were saying that Jeff passed away of, what originally it was by a bad reaction to a pesticide or something. Sorry, I have itchy nose. And others said it was because of prolonged use of the stuff you sniff. And I remember going, I don't, that's his, I don't know. He was a good soul. He'll fight this with all his might, James. Well said. Well said. I love Chicago. I watch a lot of Russian cover bands. Yeah. Leonid and Friends. Yeah. Leonid and Friends. The best Chicago album? I like the first 3. Chicago Transit Authority, the debut album where they named it after the actual Chicago Transit Authority, was a I don't know, the first 3. I like 5 as well, quite a bit. You know, love those first albums. And you know, certain songs that I didn't like on the first few albums. Love You, Walt. The man who started it all. God bless. Charles C. Well said, Charles. Thank you. I'm not sure if you'll ever see this. I don't know if he's even... I know some people in Chicago are very familiar with our channel. Yeah, start with... I always like to start at the beginning and see the progression of the band. What was the name of the Doors book? No, Danny Sugarman. No one here gets out alive or something. I remember when I was reading that book, I was going through, even though I knew all the Doors hits, I didn't know a lot of their album tracks, and I hadn't bought an album in the 80s. I hadn't bought a Doors album except their greatest hits. And so I started going through in order all their albums, and it was a really fun thing to do, especially when you're reading up about the band and finding out what they were doing while they were recording. Oh, this happened, when they were recording that song, and I'd go and listen to the song and then wait a little while and digest it, And of course, if you're interested in Chicago, even though it was done, grew up with Chicago. My drum teacher taught me how to play Chicago. Oh, cool. Timothy, always get news from you, John. Thank you. You got the first 11 albums. I missed that last one. RG, Peter Cetera, is the voice Chicago, always will be. Well, it is you. Everyone's right when it comes to music, right? People, I'm not a big fan of saying, I would never say that Chicago died when Terry Kath died. I don't come from that school, but I understand why people say it. It's kind of like the Justin Bieber thing where people say, oh, how can you you either like Justin Bieber or you don't, right? I don't. I'm not into his music at all. Of course, he doesn't sing to me. But it's like you either like Chicago or you don't. You either like Chicago 13 or you don't, because it's not maybe your idea of Chicago from way back when. And they were getting into the disco-y thing at that time too. Everyone else would. Guess I'll reiterate the last part of what he had said. 5 months ago, Walter Parazaider had said, 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughter, and myself were shocked and devastated. It has taken a while to process the news, and in fact, we still are processing the news. Great band, lost interest, unfortunately, after David Foster. And you know what? You're not alone. How many people? This is what happens to bands. Sorry, I can't catch those comments right now, but what happens to bands sometimes, and I was outside an Elton John concert, and Elton John's my favorite artist of all time. And I remember at one point at CFUN in Vancouver, they told me you have to go outside the concert and greet people as they come out and do your show from there. And I went, yeah, but give me tickets. Let me see. It's Elton John, my favorite artist. I'd seen him twice at that point. So I remember when people came out of the concert, I asked them, oh, what was your favorite song? They were all saying the same songs. Oh, I like Benny and the Jets. Daniel was good. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. It was always like that same 10 songs. And even though he is famous for playing the hits, But and then I started changing the question of not what he played that night, because I could hear it. I was outside Pacific Coliseum. I could hear what he was playing, because if you're outside a stadium, you can still hear it. What's your favorite Elton John song? And they basically say a lot of the same ones. Then I started asking people coming out of the concert, what's your favorite Elton John album track? And a lot of them couldn't come up with an album track. And I went, obviously there are a lot of diehard Elton John fans coming out of that stadium who know a lot of album tracks. But, I'll get to Chicago in a second. But Evelyn Everybody and Joe Lunchbucket, they kind of know the hits. You know, there are people who buy albums back then just for the hits, and that's all they played. So when it comes to Chicago, I say, hey, just so much great album tracks in Chicago. So many great things that you have missed. But here's the thing. They're all right. Those people aren't wrong for just liking the hits. If that's as far as deep as they want to get, that's it. You know what I mean? So when people say, well, I'm not interested in Chicago after Terry Kath died, or Peter Cetera left, or whatever they want. It's mostly Terry Kath died. I'm going, well, are they wrong? You're not going to get them. You're not going to force feed them Chicago after Terry Kath. And besides, they became a David Foster band at that point. So, Grey Seal, great album track, Frank. Good choice. And Grey Seal, from Goodbye Yellowbrick Road, sounded like a hit single. There were a lot of songs. You know, on the album before, Don't Shoot Me, you had things like, I don't want to go off topic, but you had things like Teacher, I Need You, Elderberry Wine. They sound like hit singles. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that. Yes, Queen, Elton John. Sometimes I think I'm going to interview him, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. If anybody knows Elton John, like, come on. Okay, we've got 103 people watching. Let me do the whole statement that Walter Parazaider had said concerning him getting diagnosed. So many of you have been very kind over the years with birthday and well wishes. I want to share some news with you before you saw rumors on the internet. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughters, and myself were shocked and devastated. It has taken a while to process this news, and in fact, we still are. He's 76 years old, original member, and underneath he says, the good news is we have a wonderful medical facility here, and I have a very good doctor. I'm working hard and not going to give up with new treatments and therapy, along with my family's love and support. I feel very positive about the future. And someone had pointed out that Glenn Campbell had lived 10 years with the disease. I mean, he toured near the end. Of course, he was losing his markers some nights, and it was difficult. He has been, battling health issues, but that's the thing. You're 76. You know, whether you've been a rock and roller, and that band lived hard. They lived the high life for quite a while. But sometimes it's nurture nature. You don't know what it is. I mean, sometimes even if you've had a good lifestyle, luck of the draw in your DNA, you can get some bad stuff coming on, right? That's the thing. And alcohol sometimes, but we don't know any of those things concerning Walter. You know, I'm just talking in general. It's luck of the draw sometimes. I had a really close person to me die in his late 80s, and he lived a rough life, but never got any of those things. Nothing. And partied a lot, but there you go. Oh yeah, well I've heard some of that stuff. Yeah, there's been a lot of things about members that left. All I know is they had a lot to say about the members in the documentary. I was disheartened by that documentary because they kind of made the documentary, right? And now it's a thing that happens a lot, like quite a bit. Yeah, the Drumeo is a great channel. My son loves it. I miss that. I'm going to have to go into my YouTube channel on here so I can get the comments, because they disappear. This is my iPhone. They disappear too quickly on here, and I have to see if I can catch myself on here. and then I'll get all the comments. Last time, the last live feed, I was thinking of doing one today anyway, but the last live feed, where am I? I should come up here. Your channel. There we go. I'm here. I didn't know my hair was bunching up in the back like it matters. Crockumentary, yeah. Well, I understand what you're saying. Yes, genetics. You never know sometimes what you're going to get. You know, I was always a big fan of those DNA tests and going, oh, tell me what I've got. And of course, you start going, well, the insurance companies are going to get the information. And I'm not a conspiracy guy at all, really. I can't even think of one but anyway. Yeah, I was always thinking it'd be great if through your DNA you'd find out you could be preventative. But there's so much, now they're catching not I'm a serial killer, I'm not. But now they're catching people, like some gal will get a DNA test, and if her third uncle on the other side killed someone, they'll get them. That I'm a big fan of. That's cool, do that. But that insinuates that they're sharing your information. You know what I mean? So there you go. Okay. I have not seen the Terry Kath documentary. I was just looking it up last week. I'm going, I got to watch that. Oh, thanks. A lot of you are mentioning some of your favorite Chicago songs. The Terry Kath documentary. I'm going to have to buy it or something. It was made by his daughter, correct? It's pretty good. Thank you, Damien. Good. Thanks for the reminder. I might download it tonight. Danny Seraphin, I was supposed to interview him after the Chicago documentary. I got a hold of him, and he said yes. He seemed to be impressed by our channel. And then he says, well, actually, before I say yes, we should talk to my manager. So I talked to his manager, and he said it was too soon. So I've not talked to him since then. It was made by his daughter. Thank you. Is that Odell? Odell? And Jeffrey Lang says, good luck to Walt. I've been a huge fan since the early 70s. And RG says the Terry Kath documentary is very good. Guy Merritt, thanks for posting this. At any rate, nice to share thoughts, news. Good luck to Walter. The Terry Kath experience, is that what it's called? I lost track of it because we do videos. Some days we wake up and my son and I, he's in grade 12 and he wants to make money. And he said, well, Dad, I don't want to work in retail right now. It's too dangerous. And I told him, I said, why don't you work with me? I'll teach you how to edit video. I need a computer. Oh, we got him a MacBook. Through a t-shirt. We sold so many t-shirts and people were giving us donations. And I went, let's buy you a MacBook. And he loves it. It's pretty fast. Nova, I know what you're saying about the Karate Kid song, The Glory of Love. I hear what you're saying while he was bailing on his friends, but you don't know what was going on in the back. And I don't either. And no one... He seemed on the interview we have an interview with Peter Cetera on our channel. I didn't do it. Steve Burgess did it, but he was saying really nice things about the first album he was not on, except 25 or 624. He thought, why would they do it again? He couldn't understand that. Well, Jimmy Pankow seems to be a major force in that band as far as leadership. That's for sure. Yeah, he wrote some good stuff. That's for sure. True dat, Nova. Bruce P. The best part of the Terry Kath Experience documentary is that they were all on it because no one wanted to turn Michelle down. Oh, is that right? Well, of course, eh? That makes a lot of sense. I'm doing a Canadian history of Canadian music right now, and there's some musicians that are hard to get, but I know they want to be on it. Even it's just a 10-part YouTube thing, but it's a lot of work. It's 10 hours. Have you ever met Walt? No, I've never met any of the original members. I met Bill in person. He came into the radio station, but Bill's the only guy I actually met There's a picture on my Facebook with me and Bill and uh, who was it? Is it Carmen Grillo? Is that his name? We played with Bill for all those years. Yeah. Anyway. I'm seeing there's always racy comments. Guy Merritt, I like the Stampeders. I just talked to Kimball today. Kimberly, his real name is Kimball, about setting up an interview for next week. If you like Canadian music, if you like the Stampeders, not that I'm here to promote my other channel, but Rock History Canada will have interviews with the Stampeders and Chilliwack and a lot of Loverboy. We're putting one up next week. A lot of people, Doug and the Slugs, Ian Thomas. We've got so many interviews to go on there. It's insane. Rock History Canada. So anyway, let me go back to the original. This is what Walter had released yesterday because he wanted to get it out before the rumors mill started. And the only reason I'm doing this is I wish him well, and I knew a lot of you do as well, but also I wanted to read his words. You know, I would never, the stuff that I've heard through the years that I know other guys do, like the rumors that I'd heard, I go, oh my God, I will get 100,000 views, and that's happened on this channel, if I release this today. And I'm going, but it's not, you can't back it up. No, this is just a stupid rumor. And 3/4 of them were wrong. One of them was Steve Perry joining Journey on that last show in LA. I was told, I've got 2 interviews with Randy Bachman. They're on that channel, Rock History Canada. One in studio, he was in the radio station with me, and then he was going to see, him and Neil Young were going to go see the reunion of the Crickets in London. And he says, here's my home number, I still have it. He says, call me when I get back on this day. And he answered, and we did another interview. Anyway, this is what Walter said. So many of you have been very kind over the years with birthday and well wishes. I want to share some news with you before you saw rumors on the internet. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughters, and myself were shocked and devastated. It has taken a while to process this news, and in fact, we still are. He's 76. He goes on to say that he's got great doctors, a great team, and he's very optimistic about his treatment. And there's always new treatment, right? And Alzheimer's is one of those things where there's a lot of treatment going into that. Let me go back to your questions. A lot of stuff here. Scott Derman, you're more addicted to the Rock History Canada stuff. We're not getting a lot of views on that right now. Please share the word. We're going to have to put some money into it to get the word out because the interviews we got on there are really good and some amazing, huge interviews. I just found one with Shays Davenant Doyle today and the 2 guys, Greg Keeler, Jim Cuddy of Blue Rodeo, and also an old Blue Rodeo interview from when they released their first album. Try had just been released as a hit. The Guess Who? No, we're trying with Burton. RG, yes, best wishes to Walt. Well, thank you, Jeff. But the biggest thing is if you spread a rumor and it's juicy and you know you're going to get a lot of hits, but it turns out to be wrong. You know what I mean? We have a Bryan Adams interview, by the way. It's not ours. I'm going to ask a friend of mine if I can use it because he's long out of radio. The thing about rumors is that's why I did this tonight because, you know, I was just ready to sort of like watch a movie or something because I've been cutting video all day. Not actually physically cutting because we don't cut anymore, but working on the Klaatu special we're putting together with the 3 original members, the 3 guys who formed Klaatu, D. Long, Terry Draper, and John Woloschuk. We've got all 3 of them talking about the whole Beatles thing, and Terry Brown, and Frank Davies, and all the people who made that work. Yeah, you know what? I have quite a few colleagues who have interviewed Walt, and he's just the nicest guy in the world. Um, yeah, and thank you so much for all the folks. I mean, he may see this video because I know the guys in Chicago are quite familiar because we just got an interview. Um, Hold on, I'm seeing my questions. It's easier if I read them on here. We just got an interview with Neil Donnell, their current tenor lead singer, and I think it was a 6-part interview where we talk about how it was a little difficult for him. Not difficult, but it was surreal for him to finally sing lead for Chicago because he was up for the job when Jeff Coffey was auditioning for the job, and they gave it to Jeff first. Nothing against Neil, they just thought he fit more. Now, there's always that thing about girlfriend, boyfriend when you're young and you love that girl and you want to be with that girl and you're like in grade 6 and she said, no, I don't want to date you. And then when you're an adult, you realize that was apples and oranges. That just didn't fit. Maybe she was a jerk about it. Maybe he was a jerk about it. But sometimes it doesn't fit. So at that time, Jeff was a better fit for Chicago than Neil was. But the first guy they called after Jeff left was Neil Donnell because they knew he'd be able to do the job. And he's an amazing singer too. And Neil Donnell has nothing but good things. If you haven't seen it, check out the series of 6 videos is on this channel. Just look up Neil Donnell under our channel and you'll find it. And you can look up, I think we've had 12 different segments. That's breaking news. I had to make sure it wasn't in something I had to report. I've done interviews before. I forget who it was. I was doing an interview once and I was doing it. I don't know what happened, but something came up on my screen and I started going, oh no, someone just died. And most of the time, if someone dies, you're doing an interview. It's not live, but you're going to ask the person, hey, by the way, someone just died. It might have been Steve Hackett I was interviewing from Genesis, from the original Genesis. I've heard that, Brian, I've heard that MCT oil does slow down. A lot of people swear by that. They really do. CG Johnson, speaking of rumors, Bull Blank, I can't swear on this channel. I'll get demonetized. I know it's lightweight, and I do swear. Gets halfway around the world before the truth gets its shoes on. Paraphrased, Mark Twain. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. It's very true. If you look at the negative videos, and it's not like we don't want to do negative videos. You know, Rick Beato does sometimes, and he's a classy guy. But sometimes saying the worst song of 1976 is never heard now or whatever, something like that. And people always click on it. The Professor of Rock is doing a lot of those kind of like question things now. And I'm starting to think, well, I should do some of those, you know. Because I like what he does. Professor, I forget I don't know his real name. I didn't watch his videos for the longest time because I'm going, did he actually give himself a name? But he's really good. He's really, really good. I'm not big on people giving themselves titles, but someone might have given them that title. So I don't mean to. Well, Lloyd, I don't agree with that, but you have your opinion, and you're right to yourself, right? I mean, someone doesn't like 2 vocalists. You either like the vocalist or not, and you can't be wrong on what you like. And a lot of people are probably going to go, yes, you can. Well, when we were young, we do that kind of thing. Remember, when we were young, we come up to someone and we go, how can you like the Bay City Rollers? Well, secretly, I loved the Bay City Rollers when I was 14 years old. You know, I thought it was kind of cool. It was so big. I remember going, wow, this is kind of cool. But then I got into more sophisticated music. But I can't say that I turn the channel when the album Rock and Roll Love Letters comes on or something like that, or Saturday night or whatever. That was before that. Okay. Loggy Doggy. I've never tried. I know someone who knows John Deacon. What's his name? The guy who sang with the Alan Parsons Project. I just did an interview with him 3 years ago. Lenny Zakatek. He was in that band with John Deacon. I forget who the third member was. And they did that one album. There's a video of it. You could probably look it up if you look up John Deacon, Lenny Zakatek on YouTube. Saturday, Steve. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of fun stuff. There's certain bubblegummy stuff that when you get older, you can't listen to because it's just kooky. Okay, we got 114 people here, so I got to get back to Walter. This is a statement and sorry for the folks who've been here since the beginning, but Walter Parazaider, who's 76 years old, of Chicago, original member, has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. This is the statement. I'll just read the first part that he said. So many of you have been very kind over the years with birthday and well wishes. I want to share some news with you before you saw rumors on the internet. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Needless to say, my wife, daughter, and myself were shocked and devastated. It has taken a while for us to process this. In fact, we still are. So there you go. Crazy news today. You know, there are certain band members, and a lot of you are like this, I know. If you had those, you know, I didn't get the first Chicago album, the first one, Chicago Transit Authority and Chicago 2 and 3. I didn't get those albums till 74, 75, which was a few years after they were released. Yeah, Kimberly, there you go. But less guys like them, or less guys admitted to liking them. So you're a lady, and I think the ladies were a little bit more comfortable in their skin to admit things like that, where guys were just too busy, you know, loving Led Zeppelin and saying, oh, I love Led Zeppelin. But anyway, going back to Chicago, I didn't get into them till I think 74 or 75. Yes, was it? CG? Yeah. And I remember being, you know, you get that feeling when you listen to something and your mind literally expands, going, I'd heard Blood, Sweat, and Tears in the ether, you know, in the background, and Tower of Power, not as much back then. Not till Tower of Power, a friend of mine introduced me in 75. I think I was 15. But my favorite horn band will always be Chicago. I mean, bar none. That's just it. And, you know, I like the Earth, Wind, and Fire's use of horns. A lot of bands out there, but Chicago was just the band, you know. And I remember sometimes when other bands would use a lot of horns, I'd go, well, it's not as good as Chicago, you know. But again, there was less horns or used in a different way because the ballads became bigger around the Cetera was there since the beginning, but the Cetera era where it was a lot of... Oh, is that right, Brian? Yeah. I was born in February of 1960. In Montreal, we moved away from Montreal the year of Expo. So I'm going to wind up here in a second. Thanks for everyone who joined us tonight. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Just to hang out with us a little bit and share some stories about Chicago. I mean, he's not dead. He can easily be around for quite a few more years, but it's hard to digest that kind of stuff, right? No matter, I mean, you know, what was I saying? He's 76. When you're 76 years old, anything could take you, like really. And some people would be happy to live till they're 76. That doesn't mean anything when you're 76. When you're actually 76, you're going, well, I'm feeling pretty good being here. You know, and the second you start forgetting something, you start going, oh, I'm losing my markers. You know, so it's hard. It's really hard on people to be given. If I was given that, I'd be going, wow. My first thought would be, you know, it's really selfish. My first thought would be, I want to continue doing videos. I told that to Shannon the other day. She says, what about us? I'm going, I know, but that goes without saying. Because I enjoy my life of doing videos and I love doing live feeds and talking to you. When Eddie Van Halen passed away and we did that live feed right after we did the announcement feed, I was touched by how the audience on YouTube were so articulate and able to process death. And I stopped and I went, oh yeah, they're all my age or older or a little younger. They've all had death in their lives, you know? So your wife left you. Are you being serious? If you're not joking around, I'm so sorry to hear that. But there's always that kind of stuff. At our age, Sure, life gets easier on some levels. There's less drama, or it's different types of drama than it was. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. I'm really sorry to hear that. I was going to get what's the name of that new network where you can talk to people and you just text? It's a text app. And I started realizing I don't think I want to get it because you could just talk to people. They could text me. I text them back. We talk about stuff. And because some of our watchers have gotten to know you. Gina, thank you for saying that to Bob. Sorry, Bob. Well, more aches and pains. Yeah, I feel it. If I don't walk 6 kilometers a day, I get stiff. And I think to myself, wow, I don't want to walk 6 kilometers a day, but it actually makes me feel better. But we're all of us on this channel. Anyone who appreciates this music, and there's a few rarities where I get people who are in their teens who continually watch our videos. And I appreciate that. It gives me hope. But we're all going through that stage where if it's not one thing, it's another. Don't you think? Is that the dogs? Oh, they both got sick today. We've got blankets all over the floor because they got sick today. To Walter, I've been taking care of my mother, who's 93, for the past 8 years with Alzheimer's. It's a nasty disease, especially in the latent stages. Yeah. Brian Hines, yeah, doc. Well, you have to. Even my doctor, who's, excuse me, who's, I think in his 30s, late 30s, he says, I have to move. And we've all got that. Remember, I mentioned on a live feed here that there's not a rocker that I talk to who doesn't say, oh man, I can't do that anymore. Or I can't wake up and have a drink in the morning. A lot of doctors will ask you, in order for you to get going in the morning, this is not about Walter. I don't know any of his habits. I know that they, when they were at the Caribou Ranch, they were rocking and rolling a lot when they were recording there. But even before and after that, and even during the stages of Chicago 16, there were some of them drying out and having some problems as well. Robert Lamb, I think, was trying to deal with his demons around that time, according to Bill Champlin. That's what he told me. So whether you go through that stuff or not, sure, it can make you have stuff more likely, but it doesn't mean that's what it was, right? So obviously we're not going there with him. But all of us, like I said, even at 61, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I got to watch myself. My wife is almost 11 years younger than me. I've got to watch stuff. Let's read some comments. John J. McCann. Chicago too. I love Chicago too. Dwayne Ladka. My late maternal uncle was also a diabetic. He had dementia. He passed away in 2012. He was 87. My dad died when he was 87. My dad lived a life. Chicago is still the best, especially the earlier tracks. LV Linda 6. That's an interesting username. 25 or 624. Yep. Peter Cetera said he wasn't crazy about the remake that they put together. He just kept saying, I'm not sure what. He says, fans are probably going, why would you remake that? Why would you have to? So we had that clip of, because we have a Peter Cetera interview in our database, that's ours, released just when he went solo. Lost my mom to dementia last month. Sorry to hear that. We listened to what? Oh, J.J. Cale together. Oh, Till the End. Is that right? Wow. Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Lighthouse are such amazing, unique bands. Speaking of Lighthouse, we did a thing when Skip Prokop passed away, their drummer. Any Canadian watchers for our Canadian channel, Ed Pilling, who was the lead singer of Flood, just left me a message today. We're going to set up an interview. I loved Ed Pilling Brian Pilling, his brother, died of leukemia. It's kind of the reason the band kind of broke up. Excuse me. Class of 77, our yearbook intro was the lyrics to Old Days. Oh, I loved Old Days. RG. Yes, listen to the Peter Cetera interview. On our podcast, we're going to start releasing some of our older interviews. If you go into the description of not this video, but any other video with us doing interviews, because this channel is mostly interviews and live feeds, there is a link to our podcast where you can listen to our whole interview with John Anderson and our special on artists who died without fanfare. Dwayne, have you subscribed to Rock History Canada? I'm sorry if you already said you did because I'm getting too many people aren't here. Our school prom song was Color My World 74. Yeah. Didn't Jimmy Pankow wrote that? Who wrote that? It wasn't Robert. It wasn't I don't know if Blood, Sweat, and Tears were before Chicago, because Chicago was in the late 60s. Oh, you've got clip speakers too? I've got them. Oh, no, they're not upstairs anymore. They're downstairs. Yes. Oh, I did subscribe. Thank you. The thing about Rock History Canada, it has virtually every Canadian artist from the 80s on there. We've got so many Canadian artists, some real popular. Every one of them, though, had hits. Yeah, a lot of people. So anyway, that's the news. I have 100 people watching, 15 people watching. He has Alzheimer's. He's positive about it. He, his wife, his girls, they 67 to 78. Yeah. David Clayton Thomas, I think, he's long gone out of that band, but I think he's got a new project coming out. And also for the Canadian fans, I just communicated with Christopher Ward tonight, a former Much Music VJ. He's got a new album coming out where he sings some of the songs that he, oh, you have tube amps, wow, that he played. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's the news. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being out there. Walter, hang in there. I hope, I'm sure one of these days they're going to have a very more progressive answer to slowing down Alzheimer's, or dementia in general. So there you go. Thanks, guys. Love you guys. Take really good care of yourselves.